WEF representing Palace, so let's tell you about Palace. Rolling straight to the ceiling, crowns and crystals, top like journeys, dishing out malice. Hold up, South London's grandest, far from bandits. Anything earned for a goal of elevation, just passing the team over here might finish out bright future, we can't vanish. SE25 any day, that's sellers. Rev up the engines, no more reverse reactions, fan cams, bands on stream. Share up the team, support the dream team when Eagles fly, make noise and scheme. Dare to dream or dream to dare, taking a step to become supreme.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Yeah. Hope you're well, because I'm ticked off. I am really ticked off, and I'm so glad we do match reactions the day after, because I'm really ticked off. This is a mini reaction. Obviously, we're going to get into the Bournemouth preview straight afterwards. We'll have a Bournemouth guest with us as well. Jesse, how are you?
I'm good. I'm actually really good. I'm not going to lie to you.
It's a haircut.
I had the haircut before the Newcastle game, so it's not the trim. I tell you what it is though. It's the fact that I'm munching through my Easter stuff early because I'm hungry. However, I will say, if you have been blessed with these are very, very tasty. However, every single one comes individually wrapped, so it's a long thing to eat it. But other than that, that's the thing I'm most stressed about right now. But I'm good. I'm good right now. Actually, no. I did fumble to put in my prediction, but technically I said my prediction in tactical, so I think that point should count. But I'm not gonna move mad like a certain someone and try and claim it.
Yeah, we won't get into that one and stuff. Well, speaking of predictions, I went and for an optimistic 1-0, and we actually got battered again. Let's talk about it. We're only going to spend about 10 minutes on this. I wanted to ask, because it's something that I've been thinking about, and I think I tweeted it out yesterday from the Eagle Eye Football account. This is a bit reminiscent of when we were preparing for Chelsea in the Cup under Vieira.
We were so rubbish.
All of a sudden, our form dropped. And do you think we've got to a stage now where the players have got that in the back of their minds? Because it literally it's next week. It's next weekend.
I think it's similar, but not exactly the same. I'll tell you why. It's similar in the sense of we've got a semi-final coming up, and everyone's looking forward to it, and no one wants to get injured. So everyone is not playing 100%. That's a fact. We've had that when we were playing in the semi-final and the final when Pardew was our manager. We did the exact same thing. We fell off in the league. We tried to do really well in the cup, and then after that, we picked up again. That did kind of happen under Vieira, but the only difference I would say under Vieira is that I feel like we were feeling sorry for ourselves knowing that Gallagher wasn't playing that semi-final. So everyone was a bit stressed out thinking, how are we going to change our system to play against Chelsea? And also the fact that James McArthur got injured, and like a season-ending injury. And ever since he got injured, Conor Gallagher was never the same kind of player throughout the whole season. So in theory, we were losing two of our best players in that semi-final. So I feel like we were feeling a little bit sorry for ourselves going into it. And then also, all of a sudden, Vieira randomly thought, let's just play three at the back. Let's see how that goes. That's the worst time to try something out when you're at Wembley. So the lead up to it, I think it's similar in the respect of no one wants to get injured, but different in the fact that we had bad injuries and a key player missing, whereas this time, at the moment, we don't.
Yeah, I think it's just frustrating because, look, all right, let's just hypothetically say they've got Wembley in the back of their mind. The one thing that we should never ever negate, and I keep mentioning this, is one, confidence, and two, momentum. And us falling off the boil, especially defensively, because we've conceded 10 goals in 2 games.
And bearing in mind, before before today, if you take out the Carabao Cup, before these last 2 games, we conceded 12 all season.
It's crazy.
And now I've conceded 10 in 2 games.
It's way too much. Way too many goals. And it's so mad because we actually look susceptible. Now, once again, I don't know if it's a case where it's like I said, we're not putting our effort in, but it's even the decision making. The decision making is crazy. And in fact, actually, it's a good segue. But I got JC a screenshotted some images just to talk you through how bad some of the goals were we conceded. Like, and I'm not saying that. Let's not start with that one. Let's start because that's for number. That's the second goal.
This one.
Nope, that's the third one.
This one.
That's the one. This was at 0-0, by the way. This was at 0-0.
Sarr should have played this ball into Mateta here.
And this is what I'm talking about, decision making. This is like I said, once again, I'm not saying we would have won the game. I'm just thinking about.
But he went out here to Munoz, didn't he?
Munoz, which is like what you do. And the thing is, especially in that first 10 minutes, granted they had some opportunities too, like Henderson made a good save from Isak. We got into this sort of space running at the Newcastle back line quite a few times in the first like 10, 15 minutes, but just made the wrong decision. You know? Yeah, we could go to the second one, which was, I think it's on the edge of our box. We should have the one with Lacroix. Here's where, I don't know if it was Lerma, I think it was Lerma that might have cleared the ball away. There's Max. The ball's coming to Max. Why is he trying to flick? He could actually control that or just hoof it away.
He could have just done, I think that's Lerma there that got rid of the ball. He could have just done what every player normally does in this position, just huck it over your head.
Yeah. Or something along that line, because we then, what do you call it? They then recycled the ball, and next minute, and now, don't get me wrong, I don't know how Murphy scored from there. Like,
do you think he meant it? That's the question I want to ask you. Do you think he meant it?
I looked at the technique of it. He meant to have a shot. I don't think he meant to get it so perfect. Let's just say that. But either way, no goalkeeper should be getting beat there. Like, it's kind of like the goalkeeping rule. Like, don't get beat at your near post. You know, from a Newcastle standpoint, what a cracking finish! What a goal! But from a goalkeeper standpoint on our end, terrible. Okay, let's go to their second goal. So no, that was the fifth one. The one, yeah, this is it. Yeah. So go back one. Yeah, we'll start off with it. This is the own goal. Who do you notice is up there next to Munoz?
This is Mr. Chris Richards.
Why? Now, if you go to the next clip, the next one, so it's the same image, but from a higher angle.
Let's just get rid of the ones we've done already.
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah. Why is he there? Why?
He should be about here.
He should be there. It's crazy. If Munoz loses his mind, Richards is meant to be the cover.
But they've both lost their mind.
Yeah. And because of it, you can see Mitchell at the bottom. He's now stuck because Murphy's kept the width. But then you've also got the runner in the middle. I don't know if that's Bruno there, which means Mitchell has to come across.
Tonali here, Joe Linton here, Bruno here.
You know, it's just decision making, and that's what worries me. Yes, we conceded 5 goals, but our decision making in a lot of the goals we conceded is shocking. And this is why we can't take our foot off the gas, because it's first psychologically, we're not going to recover. You know, we're not going to be able to turn it on like a switch or a light switch come next Saturday. We need to actually buck up our ideas. Now, granted, I know a lot of us said, listen, next Wednesday, sack it off and play the under 21s and whatnot. But we actually have to put in a performance against Bournemouth now. Because if we go into Bournemouth and get battered, and then Arsenal, right off the FA Cup game. Because there's no way we're just going to be like, okay, we're good again. It's not going to work. I'll be surprised if that happens. All right. I think there's 2 more clips. 2 more. So that was the last one. Here. This is the one from when Hughes lost the ball. This is the 3rd goal. Why is it 3v2? Like, all round, like, it's as if we hadn't learned our lesson from the first couple goals. They've got runners. 3v2, madness. I know we're trying to chase the game, but our shape is disgusting. And even with that, let's just say if we are attacking this way, Hughes can't lose the ball.
We're playing reverse formation. Look, 5-3-2.
You know, Hughes can't be losing the ball there. Simple as. Last clip. I didn't do the 4th goal because that was a free kick and Mateta lost his man. What is Lacroix doing here? It gets passed into him. He's trying to roll. It was Joe Linton, not Isak when we spoke. It was Joe Linton. And he gets in, he gets caught. And then Henderson's like, Isak, fair play to him, just quickly, bang.
He didn't take a touch, he just whacked it.
No. But even still, like, and here, you know, I'm not even going to blame Mark or Richards because when Lacroix gets the ball here, they've made the angles. All it takes is Lacroix, set it off or just whack it with your left foot, something.
I mean, what you can see here, can we zoom in a bit? No, not really. But if I could zoom in, let's say, you can see this right foot has stepped past the ball. So he's trying to shield the ball and like
make it roll across
try
his
and
body.
roll Joe Linton. He's got more than enough time to poke it back to Mark here. If he wanted to be really clever, he could have tried to roll it into Wharton here. Or the smart thing, just whack it out of play or anywhere. But you don't mess around with the ball when they are literally got us in an overload here. Look, we've got 3 players here compared to their 4. Why would we try and mess around with the ball back here?
But not only that, why on earth is our central centre-back receiving the football with his back, with facing his own goal?
He was trying to move their strikers around. Lacroix does that. He steps into midfield quite often and then leaves those 2 at the back. But this isn't just like we're 4-0 down at this point. There's not a 3-0 down. There's no point.
It's against a team that presses. It won't work. We should know this. Like we saw them against Man United, they pressed the living daylights out of them. You know. So yeah, I think that's
all of them.
Yeah. Obviously, the massive. I keep saying this word, momentum. The massive turning point was that penalty. Gosh. Once again, not saying we'd have gone and won the game, but at 1-1, because we had a lot more of the possession. I think at one stage, Sky said it was like 66 to 34 possession. That even though we were 1-0 down, we had a lot of the ball. We score at 1, make it 1-1. It gives us a chance. For 1 minute, 30 seconds after the pen. And this is another thing I'm concerned about. When we lose momentum, we collapse. That's an issue.
I wouldn't say that. I think that, to be fair, me and Dan have been talking about this for ages. We are so vulnerable on the transition purely because of how we play football and how aggressively we play football. If another team grabs the ball as we're in our building up stage and we're putting people forward to try and score goals, that's when we're at our most vulnerable. And it's unfortunate, but that's how we play football. It's risk reward. And at the moment, we're risking it against these top teams. Let's not sugarcoat it. Newcastle and who else we get battered by? City, Arsenal, They're all in the top 4. Let's not get it twisted. They're all elite football teams, and it shows that how our style of football works against people around us. It can work against the top teams if they're not on their game, and maybe that's a little bit of something that maybe Glasner needs to work on. You know, maybe try and play a little bit more conservatively against these kind of teams because they can just pick us apart. But I wouldn't dwell on that one too much. But the penalty was awful. It really was. I think I said it to you earlier. The only so you'd say Eze has a similar penalty style to Ivan Toney, but I'd still say that Ivan Toney has a much better style where he would do the walk up, but even if the keeper doesn't go, he'll still smash it into the bottom corner, whereas Eze will just roll it. The only person to save Ivan Toney's penalty is Nick Pope. Why on earth are we trying to do a penalty like that again against someone that's actually saved that kind of penalty before? Why is Mateta not taking it? He's our striker. I know that his penalties aren't much better, but at least he hits the ball properly. And I think fans would much rather that than what happened.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Last thing before we invite our Bournemouth guest and talk about Saturday's game. I'll be honest, guys. I switched off at halftime. And I said
joined at halftime.
I said to the GC, let me know if France or Esse enter the fray and I'll turn it back on again. Dan goes, oh, get ready, Esse's coming on. Like I turned on, it was like there's 10 minutes to go. Like, but I did hear that Kamada and Ketia did pretty well yesterday.
Do we want to fly through some player ratings?
So, I can't be asked.
All right. Put it this way, I would from what I saw, and I only watched the second half, genuinely I put Kamada and Nketiah as my man of the match. Because they were really good when they came on. But the bar was low. Yeah. The bar was low.
No, absolutely. Let's get some comments and then we'll invite Craig on and we can move on from yesterday's travesty and talk about what could be another travesty on Saturday.
Durfez said, big up Durfez. Wanted to concede fewer than 5. Big up Tim. Had a work yesterday. Missed it. So glad I missed it. Back-to-back heavy defeats is painful. Big up Mary. Big up Monty. Big up Durfez. Again, saying this lineup wouldn't even concede 5. It probably wouldn't, to be fair. Watch the full thing. How much confidence? I think they were targeting Mitchell from what I saw as well. They saw that he was struggling with the ball. And when he actually got into good situations, same thing against Man City, he wasted the cross. It's just a thing that we get with Mitchell. This guy messaged me when we were 4-0 down, and he said, this is what happens when you loan out Schlupp.
This guy.
I swear down, that's what he said to me. Obviously, I'm not going to show you my WhatsApp.
Ali, you're not serious.
But I don't know if you can see this. That's what happens when you loan out Schlupp, mate. What's wrong with this guy? Big up Boomslang and a 0 for most of them. Pretty much 0, 0, 0. Maybe a 1 or a 2. Eze probably gets a -1. I'm petty. And what?
Big up, Craig. How you doing?
Yeah, all good, guys. I don't know if this is really the best time to play you or not, to be honest, guys. I know it's all doom and gloom. I know you've turned around and said, and let's be honest, Newcastle are a side in real form. They really are a team that are in form. Get well so soon, Eddie Howe, but Jason Tyndall's done a fantastic job. And to be honest, he did a fantastic job yesterday in that match against you guys. However, I'm going to be realistic. We're a side that aren't particularly in good form. Take out our game against Fulham recently. I'm slightly worried that we could feel the backlash. We don't really want to feel that backlash at this point in time. So, it's going to be an interesting game. This.
It's funny you say that you're not in good because I was going to ask. I thought you lot started off the season like on fire,
Yes.
considering how it was last season where you started off poorly. But I think this is probably the biggest game for Bournemouth. Just looking at the league table, because I believe Brentford have got Fulham or something. There's two teams that and other teams in and around that are playing each other as well. Let me see if I can get the fixtures up. I can't remember which was which. But from a Palace standpoint, we're just all for the cup now. Like, yes. I think our chances to finish 8th went down the window by. Look, we wasn't expecting to win both games, but we weren't expecting to get battered in both. You know?
Yeah.
Lose them, fair enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah, goal difference in the bin now.
Brentford, Brighton as well this week. So that's massive. And then Aston Villa, Newcastle as well.
Yes. Well, Newcastle are in great form. So, to be honest, I think although 5-0 battering is not where you want to be, I think personally, there's no real shame in getting beat by Newcastle, how they're playing at this moment in time, Rich. In all honesty, though, we've still got a good chance of getting into Europe. It was a pipe dream at the start of the season. It's not so much now. It's something that is very achievable. Both sides could be in Europe effectively. Hopefully, fingers crossed, you guys win the FA Cup, because it was a dream for us. But you
wouldn't want to finish 8th and say that.
Well, the thing is, the thing is I don't know all the permutations. I'm trying. I'm not really sure how.
If you finish 8th and we win the FA Cup, we take 8th place for Europe.
Okay, maybe, yeah, but then again, if Arsenal win the Champions League, I think there's a permutation.
There might be an extra spot there. Yeah.
Also, if Chelsea, forget about Man United and Spurs. At the end of the day, neither of them have had very good seasons at all. But I think there's also a permutation with regards to Chelsea. If they win it, then it does open up another spot in the Europa Conference League. To be honest, Rich, I completely have lost track, but I'm just hoping somehow we can sneak into it. But we've not been in great form, and I'll tell you why we haven't been in great form.
That was going to be my question, yeah.
There's a bit of fatigue, I think. I think there's players that are very, very tired. One player in particular, man, I absolutely love, Antoine Semenyo. He looks very, very, very tired. I think he's playing with an injury. He was absolutely on fire. He was our best player at the start of the season, by far, by a country mile. Now he's kind of tailed off, and I don't think it's because of he's got that desire. He's still got that hunger. You can see that in him. It's a case, I think he's playing with an injury, and unfortunately, it's one of those. Hopefully, fingers crossed, he won't be going to Liverpool or Newcastle, which have been muted, but we've got quality all over the pitch. I think, and this might sound ridiculous as well, European football is a necessity this season now. And why I say that, guys, is because we've got Dean Howson. If we don't get European football, well, he might go anyway. But if we don't get European football, he's definitely gone. Milos Kerkez is definitely gone if we don't get European football. Justin Kluivert, same. Anton Semenyo, same. You name it. Ilya Zabanier, same. So there could be a big rebuilding job. And I think Andoni Iraola is aware of that. It could effectively affect his decision making, whether or not he stays at the football club after this season. But I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that we'll get it over the line, get a new contract in place for Andoni, because he is the star player by far. the manager is the star player by far. Regardless of what I said about Jesse Marsh and all that when he first come in, that doesn't mean it's just being. I don't know if you remember that, Rich. It's bloody stupid of me, really. But yeah, honestly, I think he's the star player. We keep him. We keep some of those players that would otherwise go. If he goes, mass exodus could be on the cards, and we just don't want that.
Where do you think he might go? Because obviously earlier in the season, I believe Tottenham were sniffing around. I mean, now they're like, there's rumors obviously that they're trying to talk to Glasner now as well. So,
well, Glasner saw that coming and said, "We're getting battered 5-0." That's out the window.
I can't see him working under Daniel Levy. I can't see Oliver Glasner working under Daniel Levy. Daniel Levy is extremely tight. Don't get me wrong. He's a good chairman. I know some
Both
people
Parish.
some people might laugh at me for saying that, but he is a good chairman because the amount of money he gets going into Tottenham Hotspur is great. But let's be honest, he don't win anything. Their cupboards are bare.
Tottenham are the only club in the whole Premier League that run at a profit.
It does not surprise me at all. Does not surprise me at all. But I think their fans are getting a little bit fed up with that. And I think Andoni Iraola and Oliver Glasner would both get fed up with that. They want to be able to compete. They want to be able to challenge. And it would take somebody remarkable, like my good friend Harry Redknapp, to actually get a song out of a Daniel Levy run Tottenham Hotspur. The big ones though for me is Arsenal. If Arsenal do decide to part with Mikel Arteta, thank God they've actually got through that game against Real Madrid. Then I could see Iraola walking in there, and the type of players he would get. He would get tunes out of every single player in that squad. I think he would improve them. They've already got a great squad already. Rice, Saka, Odegaard. He would just make it better. He would join everything up. Hopefully, fingers crossed, Arteta keeps his job. But of course, the other big danger, and I can't see us, Rich. We're not going to stop him if this team come calling. Real Madrid's been mentioned.
Oh,
Let's be fair. If Real Madrid come in for
yeah, anyway, yeah.
He's Spanish. He lived in Madrid because, of course, Rayo Vallecano, I don't know if anybody is aware, is a Madrid side. Not in a million years are we keeping him. He's basically gone from. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of a comparison, but he's basically gone from the equivalent of Wimbledon when they were in the Premier League all those years ago to managing Arsenal. That's the equivalent. Rayo Vallecano, tiny side. Their stadium is really pokey. It's poor. For a La Liga side, it's probably even smaller than Dean Court. But Real Madrid come calling. You can't say no. You can't say no.
Absolutely. Just a few comments. So you got here, Craig. We hope we don't concede another 5.
I don't think you'll concede another 5 against us, but we're hoping that Fulham game is a little bit of momentum because we need it.
So there's a question here from Tim. He says, "How much or little do you rate Tyler Adams?"
Tyler Adams is really, really good when he's fit. He wasn't fit for about 18 months. He has come back into the fold though now. To be honest, he come damaged from Leeds. To be honest, Leeds damage everything, but he's come damaged from Leeds. And ever since he's got fit, he's a very, very good player. He holds up the ball well. He controls that midfield. He's a very good defensive midfielder. And to be honest, he's one of the first names on the team sheet at this moment in time, especially considering what's happened to Ryan Christie. And Ryan Christie being out for the season, which everybody might think, well, Ryan Christie's not going to be a massive loss. He is glue. He is glue. He's one of those unsung heroes. Everybody says about Semenyo, Cliver. I bang on about these players. Even Lewis Cook, I go on. But when you look at it, Ryan Christie is such an important player. But Tyler Adams can step into that along with Alex Scott.
Sure. Big up Monty. Is it true that Spurs want Glasner? Reports say that they do. I mean, listen, Ange is gone. Like, whether he wins the Europa League or not, he's gone.
I've got more chance of being Spurs manager than old Ange Postecoglou next season. I've got to be honest. I'd back myself rather than Ange, which is a shame because I do actually really like the guy. I do actually really like him. But yeah, he's got no chance.
He's rattled. JC Earth saying that you and Dan need to get fined because you're predicting against our club.
Well, I've predicted twice against our club in 2 games. So I was given a yellow for the City game, and I was given my second yellow now for the Newcastle game. So
can you stop doing it and maybe we won't concede 5 against Bournemouth?
I mean, Rich, if you want to do Tactical tomorrow instead of me, then go ahead.
No, I said don't predict. I didn't say I was going to take your job on Tactical. You do a great job on that. Just send your prediction in and make sure that we win this time round. Just so that we can at least concede 5, please.
Listen, game is game. I need the points in the predictions league.
You won't concede 5 against us.
Yeah, we said we won't concede against 5 against City and Newcastle. So.
Newcastle, I'll tell you what, Newcastle. Our good friend Jason Tyndall, honestly, lovely man, Jason Tyndall, always wants to be centre of attention. He has done a remarkable job, considering, of course, he's so close to Eddie Howe, and he's done a remarkable job in these 2 games that he's had to come in as caretaker. So, yeah, fair play to him. Jason. Of course, he was manager here for a little while. I don't know if you're aware of that, but he was manager here for a little while after Eddie left. I think Eddie, after relegation in that COVID season, was a bit of a broken man. And Jason come in and he took the chance with both hands initially. The problem with Jason Tyndall, if I'm being truthfully honest, was that when things started to go wrong, he didn't really know how to correct them. He didn't manage to diversify. He was holding on to what worked for Eddie when we were in the Championship, and when the wheels started to fall off towards the end, he didn't really know how to put them right. But yeah, he's done a remarkable job, and to be honest, there's absolutely no shame in being beat by Newcastle. I didn't expect it to be 5, but Newcastle are a very, very good side. They're in form at the moment.
Durfez says, who would replace Areola if he was to go?
Not Scott Parker. If Scott Parker comes in, I think we just all give up and go home.
I mean, to be fair, I thought that no one would have been sacked quicker than Frank de Boer got sacked from here, but Scott Parker seemed to do it there, though, didn't they?
Do you know what? It was so weird. It was so weird. So he was just promoted, and then he come out and he had a moan about us not spending much money in the transfer market. Now, it was understandable why we weren't spending much money in the transfer market because, of course, Maxim Denim, who was chairman at the time, was the man that actually got us from League One effectively to the Premier League. He wanted to sell up. Bill Foley was looking to buy the club. So, in all honesty, he was never going to spend way over the odds, but he did spend, and he bought in Marcos Senesi. Marcos Senesi, very, very good defender. And then, so we won our first game against Villa that season. And then we got beat by Man City. No disgrace in that. Actually, we played quite well against them. Against Arsenal, probably defended a bit too deep. It was the Liverpool game, really, where it was just a complete and utter joke, where we got beat 9-0. We just sat back the whole game. We didn't have any answers. We didn't have a go at them. We didn't press forwards. We just sat back and just picked off. It was laughable. To be honest, I think a League Two side would have picked us off that day, us playing like that. And then he had the audacity to throw the chairman and the players under the bus, considering we had a young team, which led to him being sacked, and rightly so. And rightly so. But he's doing a good job at Burnley. He's good. He's good at getting teams out of the Championship. But guaranteed, I would put money on Burnley finishing bottom next season if they go with Scott Parker the whole season.
100%. Craig, we're going to go on to a combined 11.
Yes.
So I will put this on the screen. You can pick whatever formation you want, and I'll let you go through and pick the whole team. But the only stipulation here is that you have to have at least 3 players from each team. So you can't build a full Bournemouth team. You have to have at least 3 Palace players in there as well. So we'll start off with the goalkeeper.
Right.
Oh, what formation do you want? Sorry.
I'm going to go with a. Let's go for a 4-5-1. A 4-5-1.
4-5-1. Cool.
Yeah.
In goal.
Well, in goal, I'm not the biggest fan of Kepa, to be perfectly honest. I think Kepa has been. He just doesn't fill me with any confidence whatsoever. So I'm going to be completely honest. I would actually go with Dean Henderson, your goalkeeper, in there. If it was Mark Travers was still here, I probably would go with Mark Travers. But yeah, Dean Henderson.
Left back?
Oh, there's only one choice for that, and that's Milos Kerkez. Yeah. Milos Kerkez, 100%.
Right back?
This is where I've got to try and be a bit creative, because I want to get one of your defenders straight in there, a man that I really, really, really do admire.
Okay, who do you want in there, and then we can work around it?
Mark Gui. 100%. He's got to be in there. 100%. He's got to be in that squad.
Cool.
It makes it difficult though, because of course Dean Howson and Ilya Zabania have been fantastic all season. If I have to pick one though, I'm gonna have to go with Dean Howson.
How do I spell that?
It's Huij.
There we go. SEN.
Yes, that's the one.
He's quality, by the way.
He's brilliant. He won't be here much longer. He has got a release clause in his contract, so he's as good as gone. To be honest, guys.
His passing's about as good as Anderson's. To be fair,
it's he's brilliant. He really is a good player, mate. He really is. Right back's a difficult one.
Our contingent here is Munoz, who's better as a wing back than a full back, I would say.
Let's go with him, because I think Adam Smith. Smith is a great servant to this football club, but in all honesty, he is at the twilight of his career. He is a little bit slower. Iriola has got the best out of him by him laying off and sitting back a little bit more. But yeah, I think let's go with Munoz. Right, midfield. This is where it gets interesting. So I think let's go with the centre first. Let's go with Justin Kluivert.
we want him a little bit more advanced.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
Most definitely. Right midfield. Ooh, this is where it gets really, really, really tough.
So here for us would be Ismail Assar.
He's a very good player. He's a very good player as well. Now, do I put... Let's go with Ismail Assar, and I'm going to put Anton Semenyo over the other side.
Yeah.
Semenyo for me is one player I'm so annoyed we didn't get.
I mean,
Brilliant.
apparently it was all wrapped up for us, but Hodgson didn't want him.
I think Vieira wanted him as well, no?
Yeah, but Hodgson didn't want him.
Oh, fair enough.
Dougie wanted him, but it wasn't to be. Oh well.
I think one player that we have to put in there is Erebeshi Eze.
I don't think so. I think if you're looking at one player you have to put in there, it's got to be Adam Wharton. I put Cliver over Eze this season.
I'll put Semenyo above him as well.
Yeah.
See, I really do like Eze, but you know, I don't watch him every single match like you guys do. So, whereas Wharton, you know, very, very good player, very good young player, and is progressing quite well. You know, it was a bit of a surprise when he did go to the Euros, but at the same time, I think, you know, he's really shown why that decision was made by Southgate. Yeah, let's go. All right, let's go with Wharton. Let's go with Wharton. I'm trying to make it even here. And I think that the other midfielder is going to be one of our men. I am going to go... Tyler Adams. Tyler Adams. 100%. He has been very, very good. You know, I actually wrote him off at the start, and I was like, well, if he's not going to get fit, you know, there's no point in him being here. But yeah, he's done very, very well. And this is, wow, I tell you what, this is going to cause some arguments now.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, I like Mateta. I do like Nketiah as well. Evan Nilsson, for me, is a battering ram. He's strong. He holds the ball up well. He's creative. He's probably a little bit different than Dominic Solanke. He won't drop back as far, and he won't be, you know, bring other players in. Solanke was quite a nice, you know, he wouldn't get into the physical battles really as much as Evan Nilsson does. Evan Nilsson loves a physical battle. I'm going to go with my man just to be awkward. Let's go with Evan Nilsson. But which of your guys would you pick? I'm guessing Mateta.
Yeah. You know what's funny?
Yeah.
I wasn't even going to suggest Evan Nilsson to compete with. I was going to say Ouattara.
Ouattara is, yeah, he's an interesting one. Now you do know Dango Ouattara is a left-sided midfielder.
Oh, fair enough. Okay.
No. Honestly, mate, though, he's a left-sided midfielder, but he's actually better up front.
Yeah, from what I saw of him playing up front, I was like, whoa, where did this come from?
I was completely shocked. Dango Ouattara, I've got to be honest, when he was playing on the left-hand side, I thought to myself, why is he actually being utilised? Why are we actually playing him? We've got better options. We've got Luis Sinisterra. We've got other options on the bench that are far superior. And then we played him up front. I was like, well, this ain't going to work. You know, he's a man that does one thing that's incredible, you know, from the left-hand side of midfield, and 9 things you're scratching your head and thinking, what's he actually trying to do there? You know, the cross has gone way too long. The cross has gone too short. He's tried a dummy that doesn't even, you know, he doesn't even pull it off. It doesn't even look like he's going to pull it off. He does like a little flick back that just goes straight to an opposition player. So he does stupid things like that on the left-hand side midfield. And then we played him up front, and he become something else. All these stupid mistakes were completely gone. We didn't see any of them. And, he was absolutely outstanding. I don't know if you remember that Forest game, Rich, where he absolutely destroyed them, the header. So I can see why you say that. I can see why you say that, but he isn't traditionally a left-sided midfielder. But hey, I'm going to agree with you. I think personally, he's really a forward now. He really is a forward.
Fair enough. Just before we wrap up, how do you see the game going? What's your score prediction? And then we'll do last comments.
We need to get a little bit of momentum going. We've not been very good recently, or the results haven't been so good. That's what I should say. Against Spurs, we were the better side, but we didn't get the result. We conceded 2 poor goals. Should have got a few more. We look at the Wolves game, really, really frustrating match. Doesn't help when we went down to 10 men. Brentford, we can't seem to ever beat Brentford. The only game I can honestly say that we played absolutely terribly, and I mean we were shite from start to finish, was Ipswich at home, where we was beaten recently. But even though I say that, I think there's a lot of fatigue that has crept in. I think the players are struggling. Hopefully no players' heads have been turned. Results haven't been good recently, so hopefully we can win 2 on the bounce. It's difficult. Selhurst Park, you were a bit of a bogey side for us for a little while, weren't you? If you remember. I'm hoping that's gone. More out of hope than, based on anything at all. I'm going to go for a 2-0 win. With Semenyo and Evan Nilsson scoring the goals. But like I say, that's not based on anything at all. That is based more on heart than anything in the head. Part of me in the head thinks, oh gosh, Crystal Palace are coming up. They're going to just get us back for last season.
I don't know. I don't know. But I'm going to say 2-1 Palace. But the way we've been defended, I'm not confident. Once again, heart, like you said, heart over head. And I know, JC, you gave your prediction in Tapped Eagle.
We ain't done Tapped Eagle yet.
Oh, you haven't? That's tomorrow, isn't it? Sorry. What's your prediction?
I'm going... funny, I'm going to split the difference. I'm going 1-1. I think both teams... This is such an important game for both teams. And... I feel like with the importance of the game and the fact that both teams need momentum here, as this is probably the key word of the whole stream. We need it for when we go to Wembley. We need to be confident, because if you're not confident at Wembley, we're just going to get picked apart. And especially playing against Aston Villa, it's going to be a very tough team. But also Bournemouth is very important as well, because they need to start picking up points against. They can secure those European spaces, as Craig's been talking about. I'm going 1-1. I feel like I'm sure it was a 0-0 draw at their place earlier on this season, wasn't it? And to be fair, at the time...
we rolled our luck that game.
At the time when Bournemouth were flying, that was a great result for us. Because I'm sure that you guys beat Liverpool or something the next game. You beat someone in the top 6.
Oh, that was no, hang on.
It was either Man City or Arsenal, one of the two.
Yes, it was. I think
beat one of the big boys literally straight after us. And we was thinking, well, we just got battered by them 5-1, but we drew with you guys 0-0. So that's quite good. So yeah, I'm going to go 1-1. I'm not confident that we're going to be fully back, but I reckon that Glasner's going to say, conceding 10 goals in 2 games.
It's mad.
Bearing in mind our away form up until that point, was 12 goals all season up until that point conceded. So we had the best away defense, and now that title's miles gone. So yeah, 1-1.
No facts. Let's wrap up with a few comments.
I'm seeing a lot of people in here saying about giving me a punishment for saying that Palace don't win games. Some of them are quite funny, but we're gonna go through the serious questions first, and then we'll start making our way through the nonsense. Tim here says, how much do you think Huijsen will go for, and is his release clause 50 mil?
Oh, yes, I hear that, kind of insider information. Yeah, I've heard that it's about 50 million. I think that's probably going to be what he goes for. I don't want him to go at all. Obvious reasons, guys. But yeah, I think it's going to happen. We just got to accept it, really.
Dutch fans are booing Huijsen because he chose Spain over Holland.
Yes, do you know what? I don't agree with this. I really don't agree with this, and not not with regards to what you're. I think he shouldn't have. At the end of the day, he was born in Amsterdam. He should have played for the Dutch national team. That's what. Let's be fair. But then again, there is that argument. Give me a counter argument, because there is that argument that if you have got the ability to play for another national team and you're not good enough to play for the original one, then there is that argument that you could change. We've seen a lot of players play for Jamaica's a big one, which a lot of players do end up playing for. Teams of Australia, New Zealand, you name it. There's a lot of players. Let's be fair. Antoine Semenyo plays for Ghana. Did he grow up in Ghana? No, he didn't. Of course, he's got relations from Ghana, but there is that argument. But then again, Dean Howson could have played for Holland. He's good enough to have played for Holland.
I think he's just seen what team is better right now. Probably he's better than
based on.
He's probably better than Lenormand as well, so he probably knows he can get into that starting 11. And also, they just won the bloody Euros. You're not going to not pick them, are you?
Yeah, exactly. But do you think, do I think if, I could have played for Spain or England, if I was good enough, which I'm not, if I could have played for Spain or England, would I have gone and played for Spain? No, most definitely not, because I was born and bred in England. Just because I've got a relation from a couple of throws down that was Spanish, I would pick to play for.
Well, what if you knew you wouldn't get picked for England? Because it happens a lot.
Yeah, because he's got to compete with Van Dijk, Nathan Ake. He's got good players around him over there.
Yeah,
England's squad selection ain't great. They always go with the bigger six. More recently, I know Southgate's tried to change it, but they always stick to type.
Yeah, I think the final thing I would say is also, if put it this way, if you're Huijsen, do you want to play in a team where you're going to be pinging balls forward to Gakpo or Yamal? This is very simple.
Well, I do. I do.
With how young they both are, they could both be Spain first names on the sheet for over 10 years. That's how young they both are.
It's hard to actually make the comparison and give the good argument for it, because my view is that I would have always picked England all day long, regardless of how good the team, a Spanish team could have been. But then again, I'm not in that position, and Dean Howson is. And I think we've got to appreciate, he's made that decision. The Dutch fans aren't particularly happy with it. I'm sure if the shoe was on the other foot, and for example, You know, I'd be a bit worried if England was picking me for any competitions. You know, we'd be right up shit straight if that was the case. But, you know, say, for example, if I wasn't good enough to play for England, but I was good enough to be a professional footballer, you know, hey, I could have played for Canada. I could have played for, believe it or not, Hong Kong. You know, if I played for one of those teams, is that I don't know really the answer, but yeah, I personally think he should have stuck with the Holland team. He played with them at youth level. Just seems a bit like, yeah, I've gone with the easy.
Oh, that's what you did. Oh, fair enough. Fair enough.
All right.
Guys, sorry, I know there's a load of chats and I want to send my apologies out. But at 8 o'clock, I'm actually going on to Craig's channel.
You
And
certainly are. There's no rush, though, mate. There's no
You sure?
rush. I mean, no rush.
Oh,
Honestly,
all right, cool.
Honestly,
Continue, JC. Sorry. I was just looking at the clock. I was like,
do you know what? I've waffled on about playing for national teams for about 15 minutes. It's actually it's such a good debate, though. Do you know what I mean? It's such a good debate because personally, I don't think it's right that he's gone from the Netherlands to Spain. But then again, I can understand why a player would go from England to New Zealand, Jamaica, Australia, wherever else, Ghana, for example.
To get
You know, I can understand that. So, am I being a bit contradictory? Probably.
I think you're looking at it in two different ways.
Yes.
Probably because in this case you're looking at two good teams that he can play for, whereas no offense to Jamaica, Ghana, whoever, but the player's not going to play for England, but they will play for Ghana. Like we had it with Wilfred Zaha. He never got picked for England, even though he probably should have.
Yeah.
But he knew he was going to start every game in, game out, and be the first man on the team sheet for Ivory Coast. So that's why he did it.
Do you know what? We should do a whole show on that. It's such an interesting debate. Should you be able to change your national football team?
100%. Now let's go on to the punishments that some people are saying. Some of them are quite funny. Anna here says, "Dad has to wipe my, you know what." Tim is not looking forward to the watch along if we're doing badly because he's going to be hosting it on Back of the Nest. If you haven't subscribed to Back of the Nest, I would recommend it. Earth has said that I'm going back to my roots. If you know, you know on the channel. Animal, we should swap trims for a year. To be fair, I think we've got very similar trims. I think Dan's trim is my trim, but if I do this,
yeah, it's literally the
Dan's trim.
It's the man dot trim.
I'll tell you what, just be pleased you got hair. I'm getting a little bit of balding in the top there, you know. Hey, I'd happily be where you are.
We should do a month of body waxing.
Oh no, Rich, I'm coming up to 2,000 subscribers. You know, don't have that as an idea.
Right, chat. Bring your what are you on now?
1,818.
Right, guys. Make sure you subscribe to. Let me get this right. Up the cherries in all departments. So UTCIAD.
Spot on, mate.
On
on
the
YouTube.
Screen. You fraud.
And when you do that, also, I didn't see that because it was covered by the comment. You fraud. There you go. Make sure you subscribe to him, and also chuck in suggestions for forfeits because it was my suggestion for him to do some sort of chip. You didn't do the chip, did you? Did something?
No.
Was
What
it the hot
I did
sauce?
was I got my mate Charlie, who's a bit of a nutter, to be perfectly honest, to go down to Bournemouth, the Bournemouth Chili Wizards, and he got some high loss sauce. Not only I didn't know what high loss sauce was, but you know, all I did know was that I was in agony for a week afterwards. But it wasn't just high loss sauce; it was like the raw extract of this high loss sauce. So yeah, I honestly, yeah, my stomach absolutely hated me for a week. You know, it was honestly, Rich, it was painful. So, yeah, anything you throw my way this time round might actually be a bit better. But you know, I'm dreading it, mate. I'm dreading it. I can see the minds whirring away, Rich. I know you're
I'll
going to
tell
come
you
up
this for
bad.
free, Craig. Our chat come up with the best forfeits. I'll tell you that for
Yeah, I
free.
know
I'll
it
put it this way:
does.
we had a Man City fan doing Liverpool chants and Man United
Man United,
chants
yeah.
on live on air, and there's nothing you could have done about it.
I can guarantee you, though, I am not wearing a Southampton shirt.
You
Oh,
shouldn't have
when
said
the
I'm not
anything.
wearing a Southampton shirt. I can assure you of that. You know,
oh, when the Saints.
I'll be shot round here.
um, last question, but it's more directed at me and Rich. Who gets rotated on Saturday if we rotate at all? Personally, I don't think we rotate this game.
I don't
but
think we do.
against Arsenal, listen, under 21s, have fun at the Emirates.
Yeah, I don't think he does. However, he's not going to do it, but I think he should start Francois over Ebbs.
Oh, do we start SA over Sar as well?
Actually, you could do both of them. Yeah, give Ebbs and Sar a rest.
And Nketiah. Why not?
Yeah,
Hold
why
new
not?
front three.
Why not? It's like, oh, actually, this might be the one.
Yes.
This might
Yes.
be- actually, I don't know
no.
if we. I don't know if you should leave that on screen because obviously I don't know if we get in trouble, but that
I-
might be the one.
I have tried Ray and Nephew.
This isn't the Ray nephew you think.
Oh, it's not the.
This
it's
is
not the one.
this is JC's special. Ray and nephew.
It's not the one you get in Weatherspoons. It's a
No,
little
no,
bit
no.
watered down.
This is called high wine.
Oh, jeez.
Oh wait,
This
hold
is-
on. Have you still got more of that?
Maybe.
No way.
Maybe I have another bottle of
Because
it.
I remember I took the other bottle. With it. That's finished.
You took one of them. I may have another one.
Oh, snap.
Put it this way, Craig. Ray and Nephews, it's about, what is it, Rich? About 60 something percent?
65, yeah.
Yeah. High wine. Rich, would you like to let them know of the percentage?
If memory serves me right, it is 32, I think. I could
I
be
think
wrong.
it's 76.
Yeah.
76.
76.
It is mad.
Is it just ethanol?
No,
Is
it is drink. It does bad things to you.
Yeah, when I first had it with like a glass of Coke, I had one glass. And I was like, I need to go lie down.
Honestly, mate, and yeah, to be honest, as I get older, you know, I think the drinking, you know, what I can actually drink just goes down as well. So we are slowly descending towards Carlin. Birra Moretti is all right at the moment, but
So,
yeah.
just before we wrap up, what was your experience of the Ray and Nephew? Out of curiosity, because the chat knows about Ray. How was it?
Back in, well, this was back in the school days when I was a bit daft. It was painful, but not as painful as my mate that decided that, you know, he was going to make a complete and utter mess of the Weatherspoons. So
Did he? So he shot it, didn't he?
yes.
Good lad.
But yeah, it was a bit messy in there afterwards, and then we eventually got kicked out, which was probably the best thing that could have happened to us, really.
Oh man.
All right, guys, I think that rounds out. So, guys, thank you very, very much for watching. Craig, please. Oh, yeah. Craig, please shout out where people can find you so they can tune into your stream literally as this one is finished.
Yeah, of course. So the channel is it's all Do you know what? The sun's gone down outside, so I do apologise. So the channel is UTCIAD, up the cherries in all departments. So we do loads of interviews, previews, cherry picking, lots of celebrity guests. Some people that you might like, some people that you might really not like. But yeah, come and have a watch of it, and it's a really good show.
Cool.
Absolutely.
People in the chat saying that Moss has subbed to you, so that's one extra sub.
Yeah. There you go.
Excellent, thank you.
Trust chairman to join the chat when drinks involved.
No, good luck for Wembley as well. I really do hope,
thanks.
even though, yes, it might come back to backfire on us, I really do hope you do it, because it'll be good to see Crystal Palace win the FA Cup rather than Man City. Or, let's be honest, it's nice to see a side who, let's be honest, you're still much, much bigger than us, but, a side who you would say are less traditional, not one of the big sides, not one of the continuous challengers winning something. So yeah, fingers crossed for you guys.
Cool.
Right, well, right.
Guys, as always, thank you very much for watching. And as always, we're going to hope that the outro plays, but we are going to love you and leave you up the Palace. Eagles!